Okay, so for week four segment, we had the impact of climate change in agriculture. So I'm going to talk about this for the next 3 to 5 minutes. So first of all, we need to understand that when we talk about climate change, we mean a change in the average temperature of the Earth's surface. So we can talk about this from 1 degree to 5 degrees change, and this has a great impact on agriculture in both some positive and negative aspects. For example, much of the climate change is due to CO2. Now, higher CO2 levels in the atmosphere can increase yields because more CO2 available for plants means that they can actually, for example, soybeans can actually take that CO2 and use it as fuel for them. So we can, for example, increase soybean yields by 30%. For example, on the other hand, corn doesn't seem affected as much as soybeans. But that's like the only positive thing. Now, if we think about negative things, more extreme temperatures means more drought, less precipitation, and they basically prevent crops from growing. Extreme events due to this climate change are especially floods or droughts. You have the two sides of the extremes. For example, in 2008, the Mississippi River flooded just before the harvest of crops, and this cost about $8 billion to the farmers, to the state, and to the country. For example, another negative aspect in agriculture is livestock. Climate change, for example, may reduce their feed supplies. Drought reduces the amount of food available for them. And some areas are affected by heat waves, which animals are very sensitive to, and they can die. Uh, Animals rely on crop production to feed, so no food means that they cannot survive. And another good example is the effect it has on fishers. Uh, Many aquatic creatures, they live in specific temperatures that are not very flexible. For example, they only reproduce at some temperatures, particularly fish and shellfish. So when we see like disturbance in their temperature, they tend not to reproduce as often as they would. So we see a breaking in the cycle of uh, nature. We break their ecosystem. So those are our three uh, bad things that are happening. Mitigation proposals are quite simple. Uh, Flooding and on the drought. Uh, a great method would be controlling of the floods with draining systems. Could be one possible way. Another one, for example, is for the animals heat wave. Uh, we should not lock as many animals as we usually do. Like we usually see 5,000 cows in 1 acre. That cannot be possible anymore. They all heat up. They all require a lot of food. So we need to find better ways to deal with it. And then the abuse of fishing, commercial fishing, that shouldn't be allowed. I think there should be like a record or like a limit because we're affecting the ecosystem and this climate change, whatever this mitigation could be only possible if like there's sanctions. Another mitigation proposal would be the use of more precise irrigation systems, not wastewater. Drip irrigation systems may be more useful. Now, this was taken from the Environmental Protection Agency government uh, document about climate change and impacts on food production. This was posted in 2009, and I'm citing the USDA Agricultural Adaptation to Climate Change, issues of long run sustainability, and IPCC fourth assessment Report Working Group 3 Agricultural Disclaimer. And the National Research Council of America's Climate Choices, Advancing the Science of Climate Change.